Welcome to the Sofa Kingdom podcast with your host, Nelson.
Ed.
And we're missing somebody today. He chose to work over the podcast. He chose vacation over the podcast, you know?
Financial security over the podcast.
Yeah. So what? You went to years and years of schooling to become something, and then all of a sudden they need you there. You know, you could have walked away.
That's what happens when you make yourself the reliable person at work. When something goes wrong, they call you.
And your ass gonna be there. I mean, that overtime money is fantastic. I mean, I remember it when I was working in the unions in New York, and they have a different system where it's like first 6 hours of the day are regular time. Anything after that is overtime. First 30 hours of the week is regular pay. After 30 hours is time and a half.
Yeah.
After 60 hours, it's double time. So when motherfuckers is like, yo, can you work? Why, yes, I can. I can.
Trying to hit my double time hours.
Yeah. But it was also that catch-22 when you're working in New York, because we have to contend with the weather in a way that we don't in Florida.
Yeah.
That it was like feast or famine. So during the months and weeks that you can really work, you really did want to pile it in, because when the winter hit, your ass isn't working on a skyscraper in the middle of Manhattan.
No.
There's just no way you're going to get that shit done. But it was a different way of working. I know, from working in like a cold climate area to a hot climate area.
Yeah, outside can be very unforgiving.
Brutal.
Yeah. I was quite literally talking to Mike, because he's down here right now, and I was trying to explain to him what the winter is like out here, because it's just the air that's cold.
Yes.
So when you stand in the shade, you'll start shivering.
Yes.
But then when you stand in the sun, you'll start sweating. And there's not enough time for your body to acclimate, because you'll wake up, it'll be 35 degrees outside. But on your drive home from work, it'll be 95 again. And your body's just like, hey man, fuck you.
Yeah, pick one.
Pick a season. We can't be doing both at the same day.
Yeah, but Florida is much more conducive when it comes to working in the construction fields. I think, which is why it's a great area for a theme park like a Walt Disney World that works so well.
You can be open all year.
Yes.
There's really no season to close, except for even the hurricanes. They wait until like the last minute.
Yep.
And then they shutter basically down and open back up like 12 hours later.
And little fun fact, if you live in Florida, a really safe place to stay during a hurricane is in the Disney Park hotels.
Yes.
Those places are fucking like havens.
They are concrete bunkers.
Yep.
I've never seen or heard of a single window so much as crack or blow in
and
through all these storms.
And because Disney has their own like solar system,
their own power plant,
underground roads, like they have caches of food and things all over the place. Like you're really well off.
Yeah.
If you could pay the price.
Yeah, I mean they own that city. They quite literally, Reedy Creek, they own and they control all of that infrastructure. So they literally have their own power plant.
Yeah.
But they also have their own hydroponic farms, and they got all their own storehouses and all their little hidden roads underneath the parks that connect everything together. They get it cleared up and running, and the storm is past. 6 hours later, that park is open. They're making sure that money keeps rolling in. They
100%.
don't want to give you a free day pass because you missed time in the park.
For sure. And I believe they even grow their own food there too.
Yeah,
we did a tour for like the hydroponics.
Yeah, they got their own little hydroponics area.
And I think they farm their own fish.
Yes.
Like I think at some point Epcot was supposed to actually be like the city of the future.
Yes.
I think that was the plan that Walt Disney World had in the beginning. And then it became a theme park. It became this thing after he passed away. But the initial vision was, how do we make a sustainable society like in place?
There was areas that they had quite literally built up with, I believe, with houses and everything as well, where they were taking it not just from the plausibility within the theme park, but in actuality, a city that they were going to own. And I do believe they own some of those houses and some of that property.
Yeah.
But the amount of land that they actually own when you're looking at it like on a map is absolutely ridiculous.
They are their own country.
Yes.
I know that they were looking to do even like housing for their employees and employees' families, but DeSantis got into a little tissy with the Disney company, and then that didn't become anything because of the lawsuits that were going back and forth.
At a certain point, it does start blending the lines of like the old gold mining, you know. I owe my soul to the company store where like you live at the place that you work. You're renting from them the place that you live. You're buying your food from the place that, and at a certain point, it's like you're really like owned by that company, and it's hard to get away.
Sure, I think when the babies are born, they just slap a D symbol for Disney, not you dirty bastards, right on the baby's ass, and just be like, "Bam, you belong to Disney Incorporated."
Orlando is a kind of a wild area to live in. Essentially, everyone that's there is for the theme park industry. Or the hotel industry, and all the hotels are owned by the theme parks for the most part. The old strip that used to be there, that used to make money on people traveling from park to park, they're all slowly dying because both Universal and Disney have made it where you don't got to leave their parks to get around. If you're in their hotel or affiliate hotel, they'll pick you up, they'll drive you there. They have special lanes for Uber and everything. They're really trying to make sure that you don't stop anywhere but within their little walled garden. So every penny you're spending is within them.
Which is a shame because, like, when you go to the Kissimmee area, it's really nice. Like, they do have a lot of really great restaurants, little places to hang out. The stores are like, you're like, man, this is maybe it's a knockoff, right?
Yes.
But it's a really, really good knockoff. And then you're paying a small percentage, pennies to the dollar, as to what you would pay for like a $35 to $60 sweater in the Disney park. You're paying $5 to $10 outside of the park, and they are fully aware of that. And so they know they found a way to combat it without combating it.
It's their way of circumventing everything that's outside the park. They really want to keep you completely within their little controlled area. I mean, they even have campground areas, so you can bring your own RV and everything like that. And a lot of people don't even realize that they have little amenities like that. That are just kind of hidden away that you don't know. Oh wait, no, they have campgrounds as well as like the theme park that's going on. They really have it completely locked down of like, how do you want to stay? We have a means of supplying that to you. Oh, you want to be on the water? We quite literally have cabin hotels that are on piers over the water. You know, so like you can.
I mean, at a really big expense to stay in one of those places.
It's a super reasonable rate, like the Grand Floridian.
Like,
you know, a couple grand a night.
I was gonna say like $3,000 to $5,000 a night. You too can live in the lap of luxury. but wait, there's more. You're gonna also pay to be in the park, and it's gonna cost you an arm and a leg to be there. The park is open 12 hours, so what are you staying in the hotel? A total of like 3-4 hours, you know, awake. The rest of the time you're sleeping, showering, and then getting ready to go to the park.
Some of them fancy rooms come with specialty tours where they take you by Disney employees. You just skip lines. You're guaranteed to hit everything. But man, the amount of money that you can end up spending if you're not careful. Like they were showing like an impromptu like family of 5 trip to Disney, and it was like $6,000 for 3 days or something. And like if you're not careful of which hotel you're going to, what restaurant you're stopping in, what things you're buying as you're walking around, that bill gets up fast.
It gets you crazy. So actually, let's talk about that, because the systems that they're starting to put in place, it's crazy. Years ago when we went to Disney, you would get the pass, and then they would let you pick 3 rides. Throughout the day, like their fast pass system, whatever it was.
You can pick your favorite 3, and you're guaranteed to get onto your favorite 3.
Right, without a line. And then when those are done, as you're using them, you could pick another ride. And as your day goes, like you're on some lines, but you're not spending the entirety of the day on the line. Now they've developed a system where you can be online, or you can pay to get past those lines, which was something you used to get for free at a lesser cost. Now you're paying much more to be in the parks. And it was $400 per person per day, I think was what I was reading online, to go fast pass. to get on every single ride. Or now they have incremental payments that you can make for single rides.
Per person, $10, $15 to $20 per head.
Yep.
To guarantee you get on the ride.
Party of 3, party of 4, you're looking at like 15, 30, 40, $60. Easy to get on a ride after having spent hundreds of dollars to get in the park in the first place.
Yep.
So yeah, when I've been to the parks long enough to know, like, there are just better ways to do it. You go during off seasons. You go during the week. You stay at the parks. You get that extra hour. You choose your big rides during peak times where people are either eating or parading or just about to leave the park in order to avoid some of those longer lines.
Yeah,
but it does take a concerted effort.
You eat at particular times that avoids the crowd because almost everybody's going to end up eating right around lunchtime. No matter how much they try to plan around it. It's almost herd mentality. People get hungry at that time. It's what is built in from your work calendar. So it becomes an absolute nightmare to sit down and eat at lunchtime, but a lot of the lines get shorter. So if you can, have a little self-discipline, you can get a couple of rides in while everybody's sitting down to eat. But the way they're setting it up now is almost the original philosophy. If you look at the way that Walt had the parks originally set up, it was designed in a way that you couldn't do the whole park in one day.
Right.
You wouldn't get a ticket for the whole park. You would get a ticket book, and it would allow you certain rides and certain amounts of certain rides. And each attraction was rated based on what grade of a ride it was.
Right.
So you'd get like 5 major rides, but you'd only get tickets for 2.
Right.
So you were guaranteed to have to show up for 3 days to go through the whole park.
Right. And
so
that's like the old carnival model, right?
Yes.
Like you're paying to get into the carnival, but then you have to pay for tickets to get on rides.
And some of the old ticket booths are actually still floating around. Some of them are like their Disney Club thing.
Yes.
Those weird little domes. They're like, these things are tiny. How are they squeezing people in here? It used to just be selling ticket books.
Right.
So those things they're still there. They're being used again, but a lot of the systems they're implementing is almost going back to that. You can't get through the whole park in one day.
Right.
Certain rides are outright lottery.
Yeah, they are.
And you can't join the lottery queue until you're in the park.
Yeah.
And you don't know until you're in the park if you're going to be able to get on the ride or not. And like you're already in the park.
Yep.
You're going to spend 2 hours going to the other one now that you can't get on this ride. It's like, no, you're already there.
And then they made the queue smaller by leaving opportunity to be purchased through their in-park app to get on those particular rides. It's very slick.
They got to have a line for the people that are buying their way onto the ride. So that means that some people are just that they can't let it be a full-size line.
Yep.
It's got to have a little caution off because these people paid. They get first queue.
Yeah. But now with that said, they have been making a tremendous amount of advancements in both Universal and Walt Disney World. The rides are getting much more immersive.
Oh yeah.
They're making lands. They're making these things where you walk in and you get lost in Star Wars land, Avatar land. It's much more immersive. And they're slowly getting rid of these older style rides and things. Like, not all of them. Like, there's always going to be a place for, like, It's a Small World.
Yeah, there's certain rides that are a staple, and they'll keep
as long as they can.
Doing what they can to keep them running because they are a part of the DNA of what makes that park that park.
Yeah.
But yeah, some of the I think Rip Rocket roller coaster in Universal apparently they're going to be tearing that down and replacing it
right
with something new, and that's been there for a good while. I mean that coaster is iconic to their skyline. When you're looking at Universal, you see that coaster.
Sure, yeah.
So it'd be interesting to see what they do because it is gonna change the way it looks.
Yeah.
But it is kind of becoming a bit of an older coaster, and when you see what they did with like Hagrid's, it's like this is what coasters can now be.
Yeah, agreed. Like when you get on the Guardians of the Galaxy ride and you get off, you're like, wow.
Yes.
That is like a perfect blend of modern technology, movies, music. Like it's the perfect coaster in my opinion.
As much an experience and a show as it is a coaster, especially when the entire thing is running.
Right.
I would say half the time I've been on it, the initial room doesn't work. So you don't get that that initial reveal of like this teleporter trick that they give you, which when they do it is
it's cool as fuck,
fucking phenomenal. But it doesn't always happen.
Right.
And almost the same thing with Star Wars: Rise of the Resistance is every now and then there's a couple little parts that don't quite happen correctly, and they have added a detour in the ride for the one with Kylo Ren, but you also have the beginning one where they're becoming so technical that when issues pop up, they can't always just shut down the ride to fix it. I think it's about an hour reset when they have an
a
issue.
bypass method.
Yeah, and they have something like that with Kong.
Yeah.
When it's raining, there's a portion of the Kong ride in Universal that goes outside, and what they do is they have a door that opens instead, and it bypasses the outside portion, which is fairly short, and takes you right into the ride because they're not going to roll your ass outside while it's raining.
But you know what? I think that's cool, and it's kudos to the engineering teams, right? Because they have to figure these things out.
Yeah.
And even like the people that work on these rides, the amount of pressure they must be under when a ride goes down to get that motherfucker up. Because we both know, we both work building maintenance before. Like when an elevator go down, like people get mad. They're like, unga bunga, elevator down? I have to take the stairs? I work on the second floor, you fucking asshole. What is wrong with you? Like, oh, dude, like, you know, things break. We have to fix them, and please don't hate me for it.
Like, I didn't break the elevator. I'm actively trying to get it back in service.
Yeah, because think about it. Like, I know it's happened to everybody. Like, you go through like a drive-through, like Burger King.
Yeah.
And you get to where your food is at, and they're like, "Hey, can you please pull up over there?"
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
They're telling you that for a reason. They're under a time restraint.
Yes.
So if something's going wrong in the kitchen, they got to open something, get something, a particular piece of equipment that's heating up your food isn't working right. They have to push you off to the side so that they don't get in trouble for going over the time limit to get you your food.
And you'll see when it's time quota season, because they'll move everybody out immediately into the parking lot and then just start bringing people's bag to their door because they're like, we got to keep it moving. We had a 60-second timer. And so we took the money. Please go to spot 1, go to spot 2. And they're just moving people through because they know, like, this is quite literally we're going to get fired or not, or we're going to get raises or not. We need to just move the people so that the little laser light clicks that the fucking car went on past, and we just keep it moving.
I would definitely love to be a part of seeing what a maintenance team, engineers go through to fix a ride. Like, some of these rides are so elaborate. There's so much going on. Just like when you're in a ride and it goes down, like, to the point where the lights have to come on. Like, you look around and you're like, holy shit.
Oh, yeah.
Just to get from point A to point B, you need to be motherfucking Indiana Jones.
I mean, if you ride Space Mountain with the lights on, it is a tangle of tracks. Because there's actually multiple tracks inside there that you don't know. You get switched when the cars come up. So you're not riding on the same track as other people. So when you're actually in it with the lights on, it is a completely different experience because you're looking around like, Jesus Christ, it looks like everybody's going to collide into each other.
Which is what they probably realize. They're like,
turn the lights off.
Put them in the dark.
It's less scary in the dark than with the lights on. But they're becoming so much more, like, I believe Hagrid's is the ride with the most amount of track changes. And not just that, they have track changes while the ride is in motion. Before that ride, all rides would come to a complete stop before they did a track change.
Right.
So you can see it on some of the older ones, like the Himalayan, where, like, it comes to a stop at the thing, then it rotates,
track change,
then you move.
Right.
Hagrid's, you're actively moving as the track changes. So it's the portion where you're going forward and then you're coming back. They switch tracks so you go into the cave there.
That's pretty
wild. And then
wild.
they do the drop. So some of those things are, like, revolutionary, as well as they've got 3 launches in the ride. That was not a thing you would do. You had your initial launch, maybe you had a second one to push you to the end before you hit the brake pads. but you didn't actively use multiple launches just to keep the ride going.
Yeah, some of the behind the scenes stuff, and they have it on Netflix, Disney Plus, things like that.
Yeah.
I love a lot of that behind the scenes, watching how the Imagineers put these things together, and the amount of effort and teamwork.
Yep.
The artists, the engineers, people travel out of the country to make sure that it's like accurate. To if this is like something that represents India, then this motherfucker better look, smell, feel, taste, touch,
Yes.
like India when you bring it back to the fucking park over here.
Yep.
But the care to the detail is everything. And as the technologies increase, it's crazy because like there was a ride when we were younger, the Star Wars ride where you get in and it's basically you're sitting in
The Star Tours.
Star Tours in a chair that just kind of rumbles and like now if I sit in it I get nauseous.
Yeah.
Right? But you go to like their new version of it and you're doing you're flying the ship and it's like holy shit, not only are we in the ride, we're seated in the cockpit seemingly flying the ship.
It's so hard to connect the Millennium Falcon ride with the Star Tours, but it's like this is where this technology started.
Yep.
Where a lot of people get nauseous off it. And then here's where it's at now, where like it's far more violent movement, but nobody's getting sick on it anymore.
Correct.
They've really synced up the movement so much more with what your eyes are seeing. And that's really what a lot of it is.
Yeah.
That the motion physically and visually line up. So your brain goes, everything's okay.
And I think the greatest example of that, for me anyway, is the Simpsons ride.
Yes.
I loved the Simpsons ride. I've only actually been on it like 5 or 6 times, but the first 2 times I did great. The older I got,
Yes.
the more my body hated this ride visually.
Yeah, it's one of those rides where if I get put in the wrong car and screen, it will even give me a problem. And I am not a person that gets nauseous or sick from rides.
Right.
So like even for me, the Simpsons ride, it doesn't line up right, and some of it's aging.
Yeah.
So the machine doesn't move as snappy as quickly as it needs to with the animation. So once that starts coming out of sync, your brain starts seeing it and going, "Uh-oh, something's wrong."
Makes sense. Now, see, for me, I could be on a roller coaster without a screen, like traditional roller coasters, all day long.
Yep.
Not a sense of nausea, not a sense of anything that's gonna bother me. Like even at like what's the other park in Orlando that's huge? Not SeaWorld.
Talking about Busch Gardens.
Busch Gardens.
Yeah.
Busch Gardens has some of the most heinous roller coasters in existence. Nothing bothers me there.
Yeah.
But it is like something that's like it makes me laugh. I'm like, I'm sitting in a chair. I know I'm sitting in a chair.
Yep.
I'm looking at a screen that feels like a roller coaster, and this is the thing that gets me sick.
Yeah.
Like it's fucking hilarious.
Yep. Yeah. And again with the screens, it's just like the VR. Your eyes aren't syncing up with what your ears are telling you is happening. So when you're on a regular coaster, everything lines up. I'm moving forward. I can see I'm moving forward. I feel I'm moving forward. Everything is according to what it should be.
Right.
As soon as you're on the simulation, if it's a little bit off, some people are just more sensitive than others.
Yeah.
And that's your brain starts going, we ate something wrong.
Yeah. 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 And it's
Clear the stomach. And then it becomes a whole fucking different problem.
Yeah, it happens to you too, Ian, right? All right, good conversation. Thanks, bro. So in other news, since Ian is not here, we can really deep dive into something a little extra nerdy.
Yeah.
It's called Magic the Gathering.
Yeah, it's a small game. Game.
Yes, it's a small game that's been around since the early
very
90s.
new. Nobody's ever heard of Magic the Gathering.
So new that at some point they actually employed the Pinkertons.
Yes. To get product back.
To get product back from people. I mean, that's how deep this family runs.
It's amazing. It's in the last year or two hit its stride again, like back during the demonic craze.
Yes.
That they had with Dungeons and Dragons and Magic the Gathering back then. And Commander is the format. It's a relatively casual format, multiplayer.
Yes.
And that's really what has brought it back. Bigger games, longer games, a little less predictability to your deck.
And I think a little bit of less of the hunt too, right? Because if you only got to get one of each card,
Yes.
versus when you're building a standard deck, those that know, you can have anywhere between 1 and 4 of a particular card to increase the probability of getting those cards within the deck that you're playing.
Yep. It's amazing how a 100-card commander deck can often be cheaper to put together than a 60-card standard deck.
Right.
Because when you have like 2 cards that are $50 a piece, but you got to get 8 of them for a standard deck, but you only need 1 for your commander deck.
Yeah.
Like
It's a lot more palatable.
It is. It is. It's far more easy to tolerate. Like, I just need that 1 expensive card. Everything else is pennies on the dollar.
Yeah, it's a slick business model. It's smart playing. Like you said, it's definitely a bit more casual unless you're playing against us, because we're gonna fucking rip your ass apart. But
yeah.
But like you were saying, like Magic has made a really big comeback, and another thing that they're doing is they're diving into other universes, other properties,
Other IPs with the universes beyond. And originally, it was just Secret Layers, a handful of cards, just as like you're a fan of this property, you also play Magic, here's something for you to have.
Right.
And it was Walking Dead was the first set, and those cards were strictly only on Walking Dead.
Right.
And then people were like, hey, if we missed it and you sold out, we can't get these cards anymore. So then they put a skin on those cards and re-released them into regular rotation for people to get. And from there, it just kept moving along. We're into full-on sets, and not just a handful of cards, and then full-on decks. And then it went
bigger and bigger properties.
From Commander, which is a non-rotating format that allows almost all the cards, all the way into now Standard,
Right.
which is the deck, the standard deck construction, the way you play in most tournaments, is now getting these outside universe cards.
Right.
And we're at the point where I was looking at the roadmap, and over the next year, there's only like 1 set that's in universe for Magic. Everything else is from outside universe. You got Spider-Man coming, you got Avatar coming, and it really is almost these outside properties are taking over. Street Fighter is supposed to be coming along, and it really is.
I think it's fun.
Yes.
And exciting, right? I know that the core players are a little upset. They're a little torn between it. It's like when they love their thing, when their property is involved and it makes sense to the universe, they love it. And if it doesn't, they're not involved with it. But what they're not really considering is the consumer value for Hasbro Magic the Gathering. In order to keep these games not coming, they need revenue. And like when Final Fantasy hit, I think it was the biggest revelation to me, because as I'm trying to find Final Fantasy Commander decks, I'm going to 5 or 6 different stores to get the completion of the set, because I didn't buy it online or pre-order it online, which is the smarter way of doing things. When you talk to the people that are selling it, they're thrilled.
Yeah.
They're selling out, but they're also like, people are buying it that don't play the game.
Is bringing new people to the game. There is more people that I know now playing Magic than ever before. And some of it is like, oh, they were a fan of Doctor Who. They were a fan of Final Fantasy. They were a fan of Warhammer.
Right.
And it gives them an on-ramp through an IP they already know.
Correct.
To introduce them to this game as well.
Now, they're having some fun with it. Like, I mean, probably the most egregious set to me was SpongeBob SquarePants.
Yes.
But I got it. I get the joke. It's funny. It's cool. People want to buy in. Even My Little Pony, they did.
Yes.
They did Transformers, Lotar, Lord of the Rings for the non-nerds. Like, they were bringing in all these IPs where I'm like, this fits the universe. This quite doesn't. But you know what? It's all in good fun, and it is a card game at the end of the day.
Yes.
And keeping casuals and non-casuals playing is a big job for a company that's been running this card game since the early 90s.
It's been around such a long time at this point. There was a need to do something fresh with the game.
Yeah.
And it's hard to not keep power scaling, because that's what happened with Yu-Gi-Oh! Yu-Gi-Oh! Every set would be stronger than the last set, and they ran themselves into a wall where right now Yu-Gi-Oh! Is turn 0 wins.
Yes, which is stupid.
So if you built your deck properly, your opponent doesn't even get to play.
Right.
At least for now, in Magic, there are a handful of times where that happens, but they tend to ban those cards. And most people, they'll build that deck to play it a handful of times, and then they'll go back to something where you can actually play the game. It's almost like they build it just to see how broken it is.
Yep.
And then they roll it back to something where like people get to play their cards and they get to see what they can actually put together.
And look, I am a big fan of building. I love to build decks almost more than I actually like to play the game. I like pulling from different components and different things and seeing a deck idea come to fruition and work. But even I know after I build the deck and I play it and I'm watching the souls drain from everybody on the table, I'm like, I can't play this again, or I will have no friends and no one to play Magic the Gathering with.
But that also comes with being in and out of the game for so long. There's card combinations that newer players just don't know about.
Right.
Like Stasis popped up in a group chat, and it's like, I remember Stasis. Yeah. Stasis was a real shit card to play against back in the day. And now with the advent of other cards that came out that make it easier for you to play against other people while playing Stasis against them, it's like, Jesus. This card is now on the level of it might as well be broken. If you're playing it properly.
No, absolutely. But I do think that there is something to be said about, there's something lost, like when we would go to tournaments and play back in the day, and I'm sounding like I used to walk up the hill in the snow to school for 10 miles with no shoes on, but the internet wasn't as prominent as far as your deck building was concerned. So when you showed up to a tournament, everybody had these unique builds, and you didn't know what the fuck you were going against.
Actually figure out, and it was that way up until at least a couple of years into, I would say, we got away with it all through New York. It was a couple of years after we moved to Pennsylvania, where then it started being the big decks in the tournaments would get printed out in the magazines. And I remember it was around the time of Jester's Cap.
Ice Age.
And the guy was playing, the tournament deck because he bought it, and he's sitting there taking notes with what to play and when to play it and how to play, because he didn't build the deck.
No.
So he didn't understand the deck, but he had the money to buy the cards.
Right.
So he's literally playing somebody else's baby and trying to figure it out, because he's like, I know this wins if I could play it properly. But I wasn't smart enough to figure it out. I was just smart enough to buy it.
And that's where it gets silly. Like, if you're playing combos in your deck and you don't know actually how to play the deck, then you shouldn't be playing the deck. And it goes to that whole mindset of figuring it out and the deck building. But yes, nowadays everything is, here are the best decks in this region, this tournament, this was one, this tournament. So a lot of people are just playing iterations of decks that champions are playing. I try not to even look at those things.
Yeah, it ends up being the same, like the same 2 or 3 decks at the end of every tournament now. And everyone's playing a combination of the same almost deck altogether. And maybe there's 2 distinct decks, but otherwise it's the same deck, but maybe just a slight change on the sideboard.
It's like, whatever happened to creativity? You know what I mean? But again, that's also what drives the market, right? That's what drives the prices of particular cards. When people are winning with these cards and combinations of cards, those are the cards that are going to shoot up in price. Everybody wants them. It drives their value up, and the quantities of them floating around down, so it makes them harder to get. And again, I understand that. That makes the aftermarket value go up. And speaking of the aftermarket, that's another thing that's changed drastically, is that it is harder for the person who wants to play with the cards to get the cards. Because scalpers are fucking horrendous.
There is an entire industry, like the stock market, behind the rise and fall of the price of the cards and the sets that are coming out, the previews, expected price, expected print runs. There's entire people I see on YouTube where they're literally treating it like the stock market and crypto, where they're speculating on the next set. Like, they just released a bunch of the Avatar earlier today. They showed like 15 cards. I guarantee by tonight, people are going to be on YouTube with videos speculating which cards are going to be worth more. because they're going to be rating them based on how strong and how powerful they are, and because it's I think it's a set that's also coming to standard.
Right.
That means that the people chasing it for standard are also the people chasing it for commander and pauper and every other format along the lines.
Yeah, yeah. I just find that sometimes, like, kind of like, the shoe people and the Labubu's and these things, like
the graphics cards.
Yeah,
Yes.
people are just buying them out and making it hard for the people that actually want to play the game.
Yeah.
Because when I see an outrageous price, I've learned along the way, I'm like, I can live without it.
Yeah.
I'm moving on.
And most of the time, especially when you're talking about Magic cards, they hit their high right before and right after they come out, and then about a month or so later, they come back down to where they would normally be.
Yeah.
And if you just have a little bit of patience, and you end up being able to get them for less than the opening price, because that's really what you're looking at if you're buying singles. It's like, what's the opening price?
Yeah, and if you haven't realized, chances are by now there are so many cards in play that there are very similar cards to the one you're looking to purchase.
One or two more mana cost more.
Yeah, and you could get something
tens of dollars
similar.
cheaper.
Yeah, with the exception of a few cards. There's always like that new mechanic or that new thing that comes out. You're like, oh, that fucking hits.
Which is interesting because the Avatar is a lot of new mechanics.
Nice.
And some of the bending stuff they're doing is like combinations of mechanics, which is something that they can then add on and continue to add on. But it lends to this many years into the game, they're still finding new ways to add new things. Like they just added space stations on top of, which works similar,
vehicles. Yeah, on
similar
top of like vehicles.
to a vehicle, but they're ridiculously powerful. But it takes longer to get them up and running.
Yeah, yeah. No, I like what they're doing, and that's where it comes down to, like what we were saying before. It's like there's only so many mechanics and so many things and so many combinations of things and abilities that they can actually put together to keep things fresh and interesting. So bringing in other IPs and properties and these things adds a little new flavor to the game that we love to play.
It's amazing that this many years in, they do still keep finding new ways to add to it, but that just shows how it was a fairly vague idea for how the mechanics all work, and really the way it works now isn't initially the way it was intended to work.
Correct.
The way it was intended to work was whenever you played the game, you were buying a handful of packs and building a deck out of those packs, and that's what you played that day.
Yeah.
You weren't supposed to be building up a large pool of cards to start making these really structured decks.
Elaborate decks, yeah.
That really started happening after the fact because people were like, I already have a pile of cards.
Yeah, I might as well.
Yeah, so it's only when I go to a draft tournament that I'm playing the way the game was initially designed to be played, with a random... Which is why originally there wasn't a structure to how many cards there could be in a deck.
Right.
Because you open up random packs, you might have 5 of a thing.
Right.
But you need to play with X amount of cards, so well, fuck it. You got 5.
Right. Use them.
And it wasn't until later that they're like, okay, we got to put caps on some of these cards. You know, someone comes in and they drop 6 giant growths on a fucking elephant, and you're like, this feels broken.
As fun as that is. Because I have had a similar deck to that where I was playing at a tournament, and this guy, I was young, I was probably like 14, 15. The guy was like 30, 40. And he's like, I spent all night building this deck. And I whooped his ass with like some giant growth bloodlust. I was just beefing up my characters, and I ran through him so quick that other people were still playing their first game, and I was like, best of 3, we're done.
Yeah.
And he looked like he was going to cry.
Yeah, I mean, aggro was new when Revised came out.
Yeah.
People weren't playing aggro decks, and all of a sudden you were just like Lightning Bolt, Curd Ape, Bird of Paradise, drop another thing, Giant Growth. It was just red, green, trample the fuck over them before they got a chance to even get up and running.
Yeah, by the time they had one big creature, I had 10 small creatures, and they're coming at you.
And now that's a standard with it. It is literally, it's aggro. That is a standard deck type for red.
Yeah, but it's funny because like what happens is people create, and then they put it out into the ether, into the universe, and then people are going to do it at what they will. They're going to make it this other thing if they love it so much, and then they're going to carry it forward.
And that is quite literally what Commander is. Commander was a format by like essentially, veteran players. It was Highlander was what it was originally called, and there was several overly powerful dragons and ridiculous mana costs, but those were the original like commanders that you could use.
Right.
And that's how they built the format. They built it to go back to the randomness of the original Magic, where it wasn't you're building this really well thought out, constructed 60 card deck, and you got 4 of this and 4 of this. It was like no, one.
Yep.
You get 1, and it's 100 cards, which makes it even harder to get your combinations off. So it made it more varied through the gameplay.
But now you take a bunch of wizards like us, and we sit there, and there are so many cards through the years where we can still make a fine-tuned killing machine with 100 cards.
There's so many cards now that you can just make a 100-card deck that all synergizes.
Yeah.
It's not like it was before where maybe you had 5 or 6 different kind of win cons. It's like, no, there's enough vampires now that every one of them is giving 1/1 tokens, or every one of them is making 1/1 tokens, or every one of them is doing lifelink.
Yeah. And so it's the evolution of things. What's your take on it, Ian? All right. Well, thanks, Ian, again for insightful conversation today. And we've nerded out, so we're gonna leave it here. Yeah, all right. Thank you for joining us at the Sofa Kingdom podcast, where Ian didn't show up.
Oh, look at that.
He says he's working, but chances are he's probably reading a good book, snuggled up.
Another Wheel of Time came out?
Yeah. He's 55 Shades of Grey, huh, Ian? All right, Ian, take us away. All right.
Fantastic.
So I had to do it one more time. All right, everybody, take it easy. Thanks for joining us.